All right, we are back. Galactic Band. We are the Midichlorian Mafia. I'm saying we're back because we just did a whole intro and we weren't live.
Yeah, because that's how we do.
Yeah,
we like retakes.
Yeah, it was a practice run,
I will say the intro was still cool the second time around.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. I haven't made an intro video yet. I did the music myself on there, so yeah. But I mean,
pretty cool.
But yeah, we're supposed to have a guest today. I don't see her in the studio yet, but today's episode is titled "There Is Another." It is dedicated to the late great, the classy, the royalty of Carrie Fisher. Arguably one of the greatest presence in Star Wars history and cinema history in some cases as well. So today is the anniversary of her death. And
thanks, Debbie. Debbie said it was just practice. It was a practice run.
Yeah, even Jedis need practice, Jedi masters can make mistakes. But the cool thing is we get to blame it on our apprentices. So that's your fault, Anthony.
My bad. Totally my fault. I'll take it.
Yeah. So what's up, man? That's my little brother right there. Yes, rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. So yeah, today we're going to talk about Carrie Fisher, what she did for Star Wars, what she did for feminism in cinema history in general. And then we're going to go into some of our favorite women of Star Wars. Okay. And I'm probably going to be schooling a little bit on some dope female characters because
you will definitely be schooling me.
Yeah, but you know what? This is all part of your training, young Padawan, because you're gonna see these and be like, I'm gonna break you off a little piece of some story from each one of them, and you're gonna be like, oh, I need to look into that because this is badass. There was Star Wars. We were kind of talking before the show started, and I don't want to get in too much of the political side of things, but there's a difference between Disney and original Luke and George Lucas had it when it comes to feminism. With George Lucas, I felt like it was effortless. You didn't have it wasn't in your face, and it didn't seem like he was trying too hard. With Disney, it was just in your face all the time. Like the main, what's her name? Daisy Ridley.
What the hell's her name? I just forgot her name.
It's like Bob something.
She's very forgetful.
Yes, but it's like I remember a scene in episode 7 where John Boyega's character is like trying to help her up after she fell, and she like swats his hand away, like right. Help, like all mad at him. It's like
I can do it myself.
Yeah, exactly. I think they call that a Mary Sue, right?
Is that what they call that?
Yeah, like the.
I didn't know that there was a name for it.
Yeah, Tristan, you would know, man. Talking to my little brother. There.
Somebody tell her our name. Tell us her name as well, because we don't remember neither one of us for some reason.
It's an easy name though.
Doesn't it start with a J? Yeah. I'm trying to not look it up. I'm trying not to look it up. If you guys want to look it up, let us know.
Oh. I keep thinking Kira, but it's not Kira. It's Ray.
Ray, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
R-A-I, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
R-E-Y.
R-E-Y? Yeah, R-E-Y.
So like
I don't know. It's Ray.
So like that Puerto Rican dude on the corner selling Coke, a lot of Coca-Cola bottles.
Correct.
They named him after that. They named her after that
guy. Some people call her Ray Ray.
Yeah, Ray Ray.
On certain planets, they call her Ray Ray.
Ray Ray from the BX. Yeah. So, yep, that is. It's Ray. We got it, my man.
Thank you.
I knew you would know. But I think the point is, though, man. I mean, did you notice the difference in the original Star Wars movies versus the Disney, and how it was just so effortless? George Lucas's take on feminism.
So let me say this. Melissa left you a message, by the way, in the chat. When you asked me to come on here and talk about this, it got me thinking about it. I never really thought about it, to be honest with you. And so I started thinking about, her character and how important it was and things like that. And I feel like, see, now here's the difference. Here is the difference that I think is important between the George Lucas version, right? She was tough, right? She was a badass. Leia, talking about Leia now. She was a badass, right? And she was clearly on everyone else's level. Like, she didn't play around. She was in the gunfights. She was in the middle of everything, right?
Leading the charge.
Yeah, leading it, right? Exactly. And eventually, moved up the ranks. But she was also feminine. You know what I mean? She was also like sexy. You know what I mean? She had a feminine way about her still that Lucas showed you both ends of the spectrum. It wasn't she wasn't like cutesy patootie whatever, where she didn't want to touch anything and that's dirty. No, they were right in the garbage disposal, whatever that was called, where it was smashing them. She was right in there with the fellas, but then she could get cute and be sexy and be feminine, and there was nothing wrong with that. I feel like nowadays it's kind of pushed in your face, like, oh, women can do this, women can do that, women. We know that, you know.
Very clearly.
We already know that. We already know Serena Williams could go out there and beat some of these guys, because she's that ill. Like, it is possible, there's nothing wrong with that. But my thing is, I don't like when movies or TV shows or anything like that, they push agendas on me. Let me get it for myself. Give me a hidden message and let me find it. Like, oh, I like the way they said that. I get why they said that, and it wasn't thrown in my face. It wasn't obvious. It wasn't pushing anything on me. It wasn't throwing it in my face. It's just a little and like, okay, I get it. I totally get it. I don't know if you feel the same way. You probably do, but yeah, that's how I felt about the whole Leia and Rey portrayals.
Yeah,
because Rey wasn't really feminine, I don't think. To me,
yeah, Rey to me is like the modern day millennial chick you see at a feminist rally that really has no clue what she's talking about. And I'm not saying that to diss feminism as a whole. I just think this younger generation has feminism mixed up, because here's why. I'm not going to go into pop too much, but I just want to explain what I'm talking about here before everybody thinks I'm a woman hater. I don't like the way the modern feminist movement shuns the housewife or women who choose to stay at home and take care of their kids and become a homemaker. That is not something to be shunned. I grew up around these women, and they are strong women. And let me tell you, they don't take shit from nobody. Okay. No. So excuse my language, guys. We got strong women watching the show right now. Miss Debbie. I mean, if any of you guys follow Miss Debbie, you can tell she knows what she's doing. And I mean, she lifts me up sometimes, when I'm down. She'll be posting just the right thing, I like it's like anything with in life, bro. Like, and this is big in New York. You can co-sign for this. Don't try too hard at anything. You don't have to impress anybody. Just be you.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you're trying too hard, it looks fake. Melissa, I'm gonna figure it out here in a few minutes. I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on with the link, but I'll get you on. We're supposed to have Melissa on, folks. I wanted to get, especially today, I wanted to get a female member of the Midichlorian Mafia, get her opinions live on video. I'm
tell you what it gives. Like, this is kind of like I don't know if it's a skewed example, but a close example to what you're saying. Like, I feel like, okay, so I'm from Brooklyn. You already know that. There are people that will go and move somewhere like Florida, or let's say Cali, right? And I'm from Brooklyn. Oh, I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn. You know what? People from Brooklyn get punched in the face and get knocked out real easily. It doesn't matter where you're from, so like that's it just is what it is. You can get knocked out in any state, in any country. You can get knocked out. You know, people don't need to be afraid of people from Brooklyn or you know, Bronx or whatever, or from freaking Watts. You know, it just is what it is. Like, you don't have to go around telling people where you're from. It doesn't matter.
Well, here's the other thing. You don't have to, especially if you're from Brooklyn or any part.
If somebody asks you, that's something different. But some people just volunteer that information and push it on you.
Yeah. So the thing is, but even in California, bro, like, you get people who've never been to New York. If you're from Brooklyn or any of the 5 boroughs, people know that. Just by the way, like, but you know, certain slang you use, you know, like
the accent.
Out here, everybody goes, "Oh, there's hella this or hella that, or you're hella cool." You know, you're obviously from New York. If you're like, "Oh, you're mad cool,"
right?
You know I mean? Like, yeah. I can't post that one, but
we can't post that one, man. We can't put that on the screen, but yes,
exactly.
Yeah, you got it. we want to put it on the screen.
Yeah, yeah. Classic song, by the way.
Yes, reference.
But yeah, man, you hit the nail on the head with that one. I mean, just be you. Stop. Don't worry about what other people think. And that's what coming back around to Star Wars. That's what it felt like Disney was doing to me. You know what I mean? Shoving it down my throat. They never explained, by the way. I saw a meme, okay? And obviously some college liberal arts major they wasted her dad's, you know, $300,000 he saved up for her on majoring in sociology or some she'll never get a job in. Put up a meme talking about why Rey is not a Mary Sue, and she compared her to Anakin Skywalker and Luke Skywalker. Oh, well, Luke Skywalker blew up the Death Star with no experience in piloting. Well, if you listen to the movie, he has lots of experience piloting. He's the best pushed pilot in the Outer Rim territories. It's the line. And
he also had the Force.
Yeah. So, but that was her thing. Like, she was defending the fact that Rey had the Force. But here's the problem with that. Rey starts using the Force like a professional. These guys didn't. They didn't even know they had the Force in them. Like, she referenced Anakin as a pod racer. Why is he the only human that could pod race? Because he's small enough to do it. Yeah. He's a kid who, by the way, is the chosen one. You know, doesn't know, but he has that extra perception through the Force. So he sees things before they happen. They could have done that with Rey as well. Honestly, if you wanted to give me a strong Rey character, don't make her their original plan was to make her Luke Skywalker's daughter, right? They should have kept it that way. They should have had her be like a runaway. You know what I mean? Like that was somewhat trained in the Force. And then there's a cool thing that happens in Star Wars. Ooh, I like that. I'm going to put that up in a minute, Melissa. There's a cool thing that
I don't know if it's all going to fit.
We'll make it.
All right, cool.
But there, in certain stories in Star Wars, Jedi shut themselves off from the Force because of something they've done, or you know that they don't want to hurt anybody or whatever. They should have made her character like a runaway. Like, say whatever happened at Luke's temple that killed all the Jedi, she accidentally, in fighting the bad guys, killed a bunch of people, so she runs. Right? It would have been dope to have her coming back and struggling to like reconnect with the Force. And then you could pop out with all these cool Force powers. But no training. She doesn't know nothing. And she's mind controlling people and then fighting experienced saber duelists and whooping ass.
Right.
But this is such a good point right here, Melissa. She said that's why it's said Kathleen Kennedy sucks overseeing women characters, but George Lucas and Dave Filoni wrote the best women three-dimensional characters. That absolutely. And we're going to get into that right now. So, should have been Qui-Gon's kid. I don't know about that because Qui-Gon was, while he was very rebellious, if you will, I don't think he would have hooked up with anybody. And she would have been way too young to have been his kid. Remember, he died 35 years before episode 4. So she would be like 60 something at this point. Yes, there was that too. So this is what happened, Melissa. They didn't know what they were doing with the character. The reason why they got basically a Natalie Portman lookalike, as my esteemed apprentice has said on previous episodes, is because they were originally going to make her either Leia's kid or Leia and Han's kid or Luke's kid. Now, if you go into the expanded universe, Han and Leia have 2 kids, Jason and Jaina Solo. Jason turns to the dark side. Jaina basically has to kill him. So they were going to do something with that, but with their own twist on it, and then decided that, oh, we want to be different. And this is why those 3 movies sucked. Each movie they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't decide. George Lucas had a full-on story outline for all 3 movies to keep them, continuous and the story flowing or whatever. Mm-hmm. I challenge any one of you watching tonight, and thank you all for watching. I challenge any one of you to tell me why one of those 3 new characters was at all interesting, because I can't see it. But the point is, there's a difference. When you see Princess Leia for the first time, she's somewhat of a damsel in distress, or so
right.
Okay.
So you think.
They go in to rescue her. She then takes over her own rescue. Mm-hmm. And before that, you didn't see many strong women in movies like that. And I mean, like Tony said, she was shooting. Her experience led them out of there, right?
I mean, the only thing I could think of in the 70s was maybe Foxy Brown.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's just how far back my memory goes. I was a kid, but I was born in 77, the year Star Wars came out. But I think that's probably, I'm sure there were other ones, but those are the only 2 that kind of stand out until now, Leia and Foxy Brown.
You may be the chosen one. You were born the time Star Wars came out, man.
See, I know.
There might be a prophecy about you.
The same week as Roots.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
If that means anything.
When I was a kid, I mean, not to get too off topic, but when I was a kid, they had like a big, they used to remember those big TV marathons they would always have on certain days.
Yep.
They played the whole thing. And
which one? Roots?
Yeah. I was never so, like, I might have been like 5 or 6 years old, but I saw it and I had never been so depressed for a little kid who is just happy. He doesn't need to be that for that long. That movie traumatized me. It was absolutely. And then I don't remember what it was, but I remember seeing a movie with the Ku Klux Klan in it. And I was just like sick to my stomach and scared that there were people like the world. It was insane. But those movies, Chucky didn't scare me. I loved watching Chucky. My little brother.
None of those movies scare me.
Yeah, my little brother hates Chucky. Quick story, because he's watching right now. So when he was a little kid, he's a tough kid. Now let me tell you, my little brother, like, he would come up to me.
Wait, is this the Oculus brother?
No.
Okay.
This is my youngest brother. So when he was a little kid, he was just, he liked me to beat on him, like beat him up, throw him around, power bomb him. He thought it was fun, and I thought he was crazy for it, and he was. But I mean, he learned cuss words before he learned regular words. He's a tough kid, and we grew up in a kind of a little bit of a rugged family in a rugged area. And the one thing though that could make him scream and cry, and he was a little kid, we had this Chucky doll, okay, and good guy doll, and we would always try to keep it from him, and like hide it throughout the house so he wouldn't find it. But every time we play hide and seek, he would somehow manage to hide in the place, and it would just kind of drop down on him. So you would hear him come screaming, running out the room. I'm like, oh, he found Chucky. But
he found him.
I don't know if he still has a phobia of dolls. I mean, I don't think he's really afraid of much, but yeah, man. But yeah, back to Star Wars. Yep. Yeah, man. It's Princess Leia throughout was just, she exhibited strength through and through. At the same time, like you said, you had such a good point. She was sexy at the same time. Yeah.
Undeniably. She didn't have to be manly. She wasn't manly with it. She was just sexy. And can I say this? I've been saying this ever since Disney bought Star Wars. it is a travesty. You know what? Maybe she shouldn't be part of it, but it is a travesty that she's not part of the Disney princesses. And
Thank you.
maybe it's because she's not the typical princesses that are out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
because besides Brave, there's really nobody like her. Because I think the Brave princess is pretty badass too.
So I think, and I have an answer to that, and I agree with you 100%. I'm glad you brought that up. It had something to do with her bikini scene in Jabba's palace. There was a whole like boycott of Star Wars a couple years ago because of that scene. They said it was anti-women. And I think it was very pro-women because she also murdered the biggest crime lord in the galaxy wearing that. Yeah.
But that's the thing. How could you say that it's anti-women when in every one of the movies, they're showing her, portraying her as a badass?
Yeah.
You know? And you're right. She is a Disney queen, damn it.
Damn right. She's a Lucasfilm queen.
That's right. But so maybe she's not they're not at her level. That's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm personally tired of I personally think that people who, are very easily offended are holding back some of the real strong women figures in our society. And agree 100%. She should be put up there on a pedestal. Mm-hmm. And now that Carrie Fisher has passed, it wasn't just Princess Leia. Let's talk about Carrie Fisher for a little bit. She was a force, no pun intended. And you see every interview she's in, she controls it. She takes over the show. Mm-hmm. She's basically a comedian. I don't know if you ever watched any of her live shows or whatever that she did, but Wishful Drink.
She's like Betty White to me. Not as old, but she's like Betty White, where she doesn't she says what she's gonna say. She doesn't pull no punches.
She does not mince words.
She's been on the earth too long to care what you think about what she's gonna say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not anymore, but at the time, obviously.
Yeah, she's man. It was, very few celebrities have like drawn tears from my eyes when they died. One of them was Michael Jackson. One of them was Biggie Smalls, and the other was Carrie Fisher.
I haven't had any.
It was. Well, you gotta understand something too, dude. Like I'm gonna sit here and explain it because I'm not a little pussy, but you gotta understand, man. Like when I was a kid, and my brother will co-sign this. Our father was not very present in our life, and if he was, it was in and out, and he was pretty much only there when it looked good for him. So we were raised by hip hop, especially me and my youngest brother. We were raised by hip hop music and the people we looked up to. And Michael Jackson, I dreamed of working with. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be the first rapper to do a real tight verse, lyrics, song, full on song that's not posthumous with Michael Jackson. When he died, knew I wasn't getting that chance. Biggie was just my idol, like as far as hip hop goes. And then Carrie Fisher, I related to her on a lot of levels, and I wanted to meet her so bad and just get to know her. And remember when she died, I felt a tear coming down my eye. I was like, man, I'm never going to get to meet this woman. It wasn't even about her not being in any more Star Wars. We'll talk about that in a minute, because the fact that Disney did not put the main three characters, the original three, back on the same screen together is downright blasphemous. Straight up. And yes, Melissa, such a great point. Bathing suit on Wonder Woman, she kicked ass. It's, I agree.
Is Melissa coming up in here?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out she says the link doesn't work. I don't know what other thing. Well, I don't know what else to send her. I need to get her. I need to get her into the. Do you want to try it? Sending her a link.
Yeah, I can try it. Yeah, go into the private chat and put her info in there.
Yeah, I got you. Can Melissa get in the private chat?
No.
Okay, let me type
it's
that.
It's only for us.
But talk a little bit more about. Since we're gonna be bringing We're gonna get back to more Carrie Fisher and Princess Leia, but I want to give a shout out to the other women in Star Wars that Leia basically spawned. Because Star Wars is full of them, and I want to name off a few. I want to hear your main one because she's one of mine as well. So talk about her a little bit.
She reminds me of Leia, man. Ahsoka Tano. She's just dope, man. She's just dope. Oh, look at that. 3 versions. Teenage Ahsoka. And well, I guess I don't know if they're the same age, if she's the same age as the woman Katana. I mean Ahsoka. And that's Rosario Dawson, looks like, the new Ahsoka. The live action Ahsoka. Oh man. She's just dope, man. And you know, I'm going through Clone Wars again. And I just want to look at this picture, man. I just want to stay here and stare at it. But yeah, I'm watching it right now, and I it looks like I did watch the season that I'm in, because it's all familiar. And I'm at the point where she is being tried for killing somebody. I forgot who it was. And it looked like she was using the Force on somebody, and it ended up being a Jedi, but I forgot who it was. I'm not good with the names. Sorry, guys.
Let's go into that real quick, because what happens is there's a terrorist attack on the Jedi Temple, and there's, I forget the name of the girl they caught in the prison. He was not a Jedi, but her husband worked for the Jedi Temple, so they thought it was her. Ahsoka, she asked to go to speak to Ahsoka personally. Ahsoka goes in there, and on camera, it looked like she forced her to death. So it looked like Ahsoka would assume he was the terrorist. So she went on he's on trial, and you haven't got to the end to see who it was?
Oh, no, I saw who it was, because they cleared her of all her charges. And what I thought was and this is spoiler. I don't know if you haven't seen Clone Wars yet, then that's your fault. They welcomed her back to the order, and she was like, I'm all set. I'm good. I'm good. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. But I'm all set.
One of the most pivotal scenes in the Clone Wars and changed the history, like something we didn't know. You know, we had a guy like Anakin turn to the dark side, and we always wanted to know, like, the things that made him. It wasn't just one thing, but I can guarantee you all those things, plus Ahsoka voicing her opinions about how the Jedi lost their way and then leaving the order after Anakin begged her to stay, it made him rethink a lot of things. I can't wait until you get into that final season to see some resolution to that. But Ahsoka Tano is created by George Lucas and Dave Filoni. Yes, Melissa, on point. Barriss Offee. I wasn't talking about Barriss, though. There was the woman that they caught that they accused Ahsoka of killing. Her husband worked at the temple. Yes, Barriss Offee was the one behind it. Also, another cool female character that ended up turning to the dark side because she believed the Jedi lost their way.
So she turned to the dark side. Oh, he's frozen. Hey, Melissa, I sent you an invite, so get your butt in here. All right, you're back, man. You froze for a second there.
Yeah, so Barriss Offee somewhat turned to the dark side, and it wasn't really turning to the dark side. It's just a lot of people were kind of became disconnected from the Jedi because of they were fighting basically a political war. They're not supposed to be soldiers; they're supposed to be peacekeepers. But anyway, I digress. Ahsoka Tano
you can see how Anakin is getting angrier by the day.
Oh yeah,
you can see it.
I was explaining this to somebody the other day. They were telling me that the reason the prequels sucked is because, and they didn't suck, to make that abundantly clear. He said that the reason they sucked was because they went back that far and we didn't need to see Anakin as a kid. Now, my answer was this. If you were to ever fully understand an evil person, like say Hitler, you would have to go back to his childhood.
Sure.
Because it didn't happen in his 20s. I mean, it starts at a young age. Evil isn't born created over a long period of time. And I will say this, man, Ahsoka added as Anakin's apprentice gave him a whole new depth. They were like a brother and sister. Mm-hmm. And Ahsoka kept him alive a lot of the time. You've been watching the Clone Wars, man. She's been saving his ass quite a bit. You know, she could hold her own. And as you see in the future after the Clone Wars, just such a great character. Did you get Melissa in? Because I don't.
No. I sent her the link. We'll see if she emails me back and says she can't get in. I'll figure out on this end. Don't worry. Go keep going.
So that was definitely our first other female character that I wanted to bring in and talk about. But I want to bring in the next one who's also involved in that story. But first of all, I'd like to bring in our guest. She's a big supporter of everything STB Networks. She calls into Nitty Gritty Niners constantly. She's rocking a Niner hat right now, as I can see. And she's just a beautiful soul. We're going to bring in Izzy the Rebel. Welcome to the show.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Very.
Oh, you gotta turn down your stream.
Oh,
yeah, because we can hear ourselves.
Sorry.
It's like calling the radio station and leaving your radio on.
It's football.
Oh, by the way, off topic. Did you see the Jets won again?
Yes.
They can't even lose right, man.
A long time.
I am not looking forward to the fan at all in the morning.
Yeah.
They're gonna whine so much.
Yeah.
My father wonders why I don't want to be a Jet or a Giant fan at all.
Well, because you're a Niner fan, and that's the right thing to be. But so we're talking a little.
Seriously, how could you root for them?
What's that?
They're whining about how they can't go 0-16. Who wants to go 0-16?
He does. Anthony wants to get some good draft picks. But this is a Star Wars show. It ain't Nitty Gritty Niners, so we're gonna get into it. We're talking about other features in Star Wars other than Leia, like that were inspired by Leia, and we were just talking about Ahsoka Tano, as you could see. And
I didn't like her when she was first introduced, actually, but she grew on me. And I think that mostly had to do with Dave Filoni and what he did with her in the TV show.
Hold on, let's back up here. Dave Filoni is the reason why Ahsoka's a badass character. You got to remember that. He's the one that's taken her to where she has gone.
In the movie, because I don't know if you saw the 2008 movie, she was like a really bratty, like worse version of Anakin in Phantom Menace, where you were just like, I really don't like the character why they introduced her. And then slowly over the show with Captain Rex and everybody else, that's when she started growing on people. For me personally, that's how I felt.
Yeah.
I didn't like Ahsoka at the beginning, and then she grew on me.
So I can kind of agree, because when I first saw the first Ahsoka we got was in the Clone Wars movie, not the show.
The Clone Wars what I was talking about.
And then the show spawned from it. There were some things in there, and I didn't start seeing Clone Wars until it was like a season or two in. And one of the reasons I didn't watch it is because it just seemed so childish, like with Ahsoka calling Anakin Sky Guy and Jabba's son Stinky. Okay, this is for kids. It's not Star Wars.
But she was a kid, though, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly.
But
she was a kid. She hadn't
like,
seen anything yet.
Right.
It just felt like she was like a character that was just being forced upon you, like to add to to why they're gonna make another version of the show. Because you remember originally it was the 2003 version that they made first, and then it was the 2008 version that everyone fell in love with.
Yeah, so the 2000 no, it was in 2005, because in 2003 episode 3 hadn't even come out yet. But season 5 they came out with a like hand-drawn animated Clone Wars, and they were like 12-minute episodes, and she wasn't in there yet.
No, they had a Asajj Ventress on that show.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about her.
Great villain.
We're going to talk about her in a few minutes, but I loved what they did with Ahsoka. I had, my good friend who is actually a member of this show is and he's not on tonight. He's got a full house with family and everything, but he called me one day and was like, "Hey, come over. You got to watch this." So he put on the Clone Wars. I was like, "Man, I don't want to watch a kid version of Star Wars." And then 10 minutes in, I'm like, "Yo, they watch this? Like, what the hell?" And it was very dark.
Have you ever watched Batman the Animated Series for real?
Yeah.
No,
that's how I think everybody thinks. Like, as soon as they think cartoon, animated, whatever, they're like, "No, this isn't for me. This is gonna be crap." And then you watch the actual material, and then they're like, "Shit, this is so much better than the live action stuff."
Mm-hmm. Well, because DC makes really good animation. Their movies are horrible, but their animation is outstanding. And it's the reverse for Marvel. Their movies are great, but their animation sucks.
Well, it's also because most of Disney's Marvel, even before they officially bought it, was more like kitty version, so they couldn't even like do anything adult like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you brought in Moon Knight, you had him making moon puns, talking to the moon, and Spider-Man making fun of him in the background.
Right. Okay, so we got to get back to Star Wars because people are tuning in for Star Wars. So I need you, Melissa, to tell us another female character that we should give some recognition to. And if she's on one of my favorites, can we have a screen image of her?
One of my absolute favorites, and I think this is probably why I fell in love with Obi-Wan so much, was Satine. She's like the first like Mandalorian character you really got that was female. She was I think everything I wanted Padme to be, but she actually was. So she was feminine, but she stood by her principles. She fell in love with a Jedi, but she didn't force him to, pick a side. She stood by her principles. She was a pacifist, and I think in that regard, she was probably one of my very, very, very most underrated characters, and that's why it was so sad when they killed her off, was because she pretty much was the every woman.
Mm-hmm.
She could be strong without being a fighter. She didn't have to be brutish. She didn't have to be anything else but who she was.
That was one that was in love with Obi-Wan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And isn't her sister Bo-Katan or whatever?
Bo-Katan, yeah.
My man. You have learned you have learned well, young one. Yes.
But that's the lovely part. That they did that. They slowly built up character after character after character, and they took whatever worked for one female and they went and took it a whole new level to each different female villain or hero.
They have to. A good show, you're gonna lose characters that you love. I mean,
people got to die.
Yeah, Sopranos. Come on, man. Like I love that show and I love characters. And I almost stopped watching after Tony killed Christopher. So I get what you're saying, but it's just something that had to be done. But if you also know the backstory and the lore of Star Wars, you kind of knew she was gonna die because of what happens to Mandalore. But yes, they did bring Bo-Katan back. And I was gonna bring her up today, but I'm hoping our next guest might have had her on his list. So we'll see what that is. But Melissa, thanks for coming in. But next time, get a headset microphone or whatever. I'll plug you with some links to get one because we
have headphones on right now. Sorry.
But
That's all right.
Oh, you do. It's coming in really choppy though. But yeah, we're gonna have you on again. I'm sorry we didn't get you on earlier. I don't know what happened with that link, but thanks for coming on the show.
I was honored that you guys wanted me anyway. So that's
of course. We got another guest coming in though, so we're gonna You'll be back on the next episode.
Okay. No problem. You
All
guys
right,
have a
thank
nice
you.
night.
You too.
You too. All right. So yeah, that's a great choice in character. Duchess Satine was amazing. Leader of Mandalore. Her sister's just an utter badass, and I hope we get to see more of her in the next season.
And Satine wasn't a fighter; she was just dope.
No,
she's just right here.
She was a
brain.
Yeah,
right. She played the Game of Thrones.
And it's the first time you really got to see Obi-Wan kind of start thinking of breaking the rules a little bit, because he's by the book on the Jedi Code. He's really in love too.
He loosens it though.
Yeah, definitely.
On the rules.
The effect of it is on him is pretty brutal when she dies.
Yeah, it's seismic. Yeah, definitely.
So
I just saw that episode. That's how I remember.
Yes, you're welcome to come in now whenever you're ready. So
I don't think your link works. Your because you had an old link. Remember you left and came back.
Oh, okay. I'll double. He'll leave a message in here if it's not
okay.
If it's not it's not working, and then I'll resend it.
Melissa said Aura Singh. Who's that?
Aura Singh. It's Aurra Singh. Aura Singh is a bounty hunter who was formerly a Jedi. You watch the Clone Wars, she's the orange haired girl that works with Boba, really white skin.
I'm gonna look her up right now. I'm sure when I see her. Oh yeah. I know who this is.
Yeah, she's a badass.
She's dope.
Yeah. But I have another one I want to bring up until we get our next guest in. Speaking of a badass, we're talking, she went to the dark side, but Asajj Ventress was such a complex, strong character and just dope to look at. And I mean, she was nice with those sabers too. She got two sabers, just like you, man, rocking the two sabers. Tony. Asajj Ventress was. I mean, you've seen quite a bit of her watching the Clone Wars. Right?
Yep.
What do you think of her?
I like her. Her and Ahsoka just went at it on the last episode.
Wasn't it?
Because Ahsoka thought that it was her that set her up.
Yeah, that's and anybody
and they went at it. Can I say this? Some of the fight scenes on Clone Wars are amazing.
Yes.
And they're long, which I like. They're probably like 3 to 4 minutes long. They're great.
Hey, so I got to ask you, and this is a little bit off the topic of women, but Sidious versus Darth Maul and Savage Opress, his brother.
Sidious. Oh, yes. Oh, my God. That fight was amazing.
Right?
They went at it. And he beat them. He didn't even break a sweat. You could tell he's a G.
Yes. I mean,
he wasn't worried at all.
I liked how they were, like you said, he's not breaking a sweat. But there was a particular scene where Maul tries to like stick the lightsaber and just, like stab him through the head, and his only movement was like, to the side, and then he tries to stab him, and he just kind of moves his shoulder back.
Yeah,
effortless.
Yeah, and I like the one with Obi-Wan fighting them as well.
Yes, yeah,
yeah.
I like it. I like the banter between Asajj Ventress and Obi-Wan when they had to team against Maul and Opress. Like they know they gotta do it together, but they're kind of they're bantering back and forth, kind of clowning each other a little bit. Yes, Melissa, I have. There's a good book. I can't think of the title of it right now. I have it in my Audible though. It's about Asajj Ventress, and it kind of is the conclusion to her story. And she's a very complex character in so many ways. She started out as, and she's a Night Sister, which we're talking about her. So we're talking about women. Let's talk about the Night Sisters in general. The Night Sisters are the witches of Dathomir, the planet Dathomir, and they use the Force in a different way than Jedi and Sith do. It's more of a a magic type thing, right? And you've gotten into that. You watched the Clone Wars. But Asajj Ventress was one of them. She was taken to be a Jedi. Her master was killed. That obviously made her a little bit angry. So she kind of started going to the dark side. If you get into the animated 2005 Clone Wars series, the shorts, it shows you that she was trying to be a Sith. She gets into a competition that Dooku puts on, and the poor girl was being played the whole time. Sidious and Dooku had not one plan of making her part of the Sith, because there's only two. Sidious, as the master, never even considered that she could kill Dooku and become his next. This just didn't even consider it. But I think he had his eyes set on Anakin the whole time. So she goes back to Dathomir and rejoins the Night Sisters, and then the Night Sisters get wiped out by General Grievous. So in this story, that Melissa, if you know which book I'm talking about, post the name up. It's where she falls in love with that Jedi Quinlan Voss. She has a really sad story, and that's something I like about Star Wars, is that they kind of take you into why somebody becomes evil. And hers, I mean, she had every reason, really. Like, I'd be pissed too if I was. She literally lost everything. But there's redemption for her in the end. I'm not going to give away the book, or if any of you guys listen to Audible, get that book. It's amazing. George Lucas's daughter actually wrote it.
Oh, really?
Yes, Katie Lucas.
I wonder if he had anything to do with it. Must have, right?
George?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
he had to give her some input.
Back then, when it was, before the Disney era, Disney says that there wasn't continuity in the expanded story, which are the books and comics. There was a lot of continuity. There were some things that you might have needed to make like slight changes in after the prequels came out, because George didn't want to reveal anything to even anybody that was writing his books. Like, he kept that under wrap. But Asajj Ventress, I think Katie Lucas took a liking to that character, got the input from her dad, and wrote an amazing story. Okay. So, and since we're talking about the expanded universe, I want to talk about this woman, which Disney robbed us of, because she played a very big role in the expanded universe after Return of the Jedi and in Luke Skywalker's life. Mara Jade, aka Mara Jade Skywalker.
Always gotta look people up when you say stuff.
Oh man! So, quick rundown of her story. So, Mara Jade.
Okay.
Yeah, Mara Jade was what's known as the Emperor's Hand. She basically was a secret apprentice to Darth Sidious, aka Emperor Palpatine, and went.
This is saying that she was Luke Skywalker's wife.
Oh yeah, we're getting into that.
Okay,
we're getting into that. Okay. She's tasked. If any of you guys have read the Thrawn trilogy, the first trilogy of books to come out after, I think it was in the early 90s, you find out that her story is that the Emperor told her that if Vader wasn't to kill Luke Skywalker because of his emotions, what he deemed as weak, that it was her job to kill Luke Skywalker. So in the Thrawn trilogy, she has a severe hatred for Luke Skywalker because she thought that the Emperor cared about her, and that was all she had. As the closest thing to family she had was the Emperor, and him and Vader basically made short work of Emperor Palpatine. He's dead. So her goal is to kill Luke Skywalker, but they're forced to work with each other, and they end up falling in love. She comes to realize that she was trained under just pure evil. And how do you know anything else when you're raised on, you know what I mean?
Right.
And they have a son, Ben Skywalker, not Ben Solo. So if you guys haven't noticed, Disney's movies that they call Episode 7 8, and 9. Those aren't canon. Not here. Not on this show. So Melissa,
yeah, because it says that isn't canon. What you just said. That's what they're saying, right? That's not canon.
But they're wrong. Darkest Night, the Asajj Ventress book. Please go out and get it. Our guest, if you can't get in the link, let me know right now, because we could have Melissa talking about this. But yeah, so there was a lot of great story. She was a great character, another strong female lead. I don't want to give away too much, but check her out. She's amazing. So, do you have any other female characters you want to shout out?
That's really it, man. I don't really remember too many more than that, to be honest.
I can't not mention her. This next one, I first saw her in 1994 or 5, so I was still a youngster, and it was her first movie, and I fell in love, and I told my mother that I was going to marry her someday, and then she got a role on Star Wars, and I cheered.
Yep.
Miss Padme Amidala, Queen Amidala, or Senator Amidala, played by Natalie Portman. Very strong character, very great character. I mean, she wasn't a politician with the heart. She wasn't about all the lies and the BS. And as far as her character goes, I mean, the beauty's obvious, right? There's something about Israeli girls that they're just all want a genetic lotto.
Gal Gadot.
Yeah. I don't know what they drink or eat, but it makes them all hot.
It's a factory. That's what it is.
Yeah. Just pumping them out.
It's pumping them out.
Hey, but if eating lox and bagels makes you look like that, give me some right now. And I don't even like that. But yeah, she not much you can say about her. She kind of covered all grounds. She wasn't much of a fighter, but she would get down when she had to. And she was a very young politician. I think she was 14 years old when she was Queen of Naboo. I guess people mature quicker in the galaxy for.
I mean, what was the age separation between her and Anakin?
So when they first met, he was 9 years, she was 14, so it was 5 years.
Okay. So it's not that bad, I guess.
Yeah. So he's 19 and she's.
It looked like he was 5.
Like Anakin was 5.
Yeah, when he was a little boy, that character or that actor, he looked like he was like 5.
Yeah. You know what's crazy though is his game was on point. More so in episode 1 than in episode 2. Because in episode 2 there was like, and I know you're gonna love this part, but there's so many cringe-worthy moments in episode 2 when he's like trying to like spit game at her, and it sounds like a bad Shakespearean play. He comes out with in episode 1, first thing he says to her, "You an angel? What girl ain't?"
That's that game right there, boy.
I mean, but it's better race that is nicknamed angels. They're Aegans. They're from the planet Aego, but people call them angels because they're such a beautiful race of people. So he uses that. Obviously, you can't ask a girl if she's some mythical creature, or I don't want to say mythical because I don't want to, if you believe in angels, that's cool. But yeah, the game was on point. Who wouldn't love, 9-year-olds saying, "Oh, you look like an angel"? But I will say this, man. She did such a good job. A lot of people give hell to those actors that did the prequels. I think they did a great job. I think they, just like the original,
they didn't have much to work with.
Well, they didn't really have much to work with in the original trilogy either. The dialogue's always clunky. The thing with George Lucas, I feel bad for George in this regard. In the Star Wars, he had people telling him in the script needed fixing. Like, no, they should say this instead of this. By the time episode 1 came around, you got to remember, George Lucas is a self-admitted, I don't write good scripts. This is why I need dialogue writers here. He says that. But by this time, you got to remember, George Lucas by the time episode 1 is being filmed. He's deemed the greatest filmmaker of all time. I'm willing to bet there was nothing but a bunch of yes men around him. So a dialogue coach comes in and you see these clunky lines. And, oh no, this is perfect. This is great.
Right.
Because those dialogue coaches also wrote the novelizations and they're completely different.
So I will say this. How would you feel about a Star Wars film by Tarantino?
I wouldn't.
Because I feel like his dialogue is always on point. He does great dialogue.
I don't. He's okay. I mean, dialogue wise, I'll agree. Yeah, I'll agree with that. However, I'm not a huge. I mean, I know this might be sacrilege. I'm not a huge fan of Tarantino's work. I think a little bit over the top.
I'm not a huge fan of all his stuff, like some people are. But I do enjoy some of it.
You're gonna bug out on this one though, bro. I would like to see a Ben Affleck written and directed Star Wars movie.
I would take it because I don't think he's gotten better. I will say he's gotten better, but I don't think he's the best actor out there. He's gotten better, but his films when he directs them, they're always nominated for Oscars. They're always Oscar nominated. Like he nails it every time. Yeah. Every film that he does gets nominated.
Well, you got to remember,
it's crazy. Like he's really good at directing.
You got to remember, this is the co-writer of Good Will Hunting. I don't care if you dislike that movie or not. You can't deny that it's one of the greatest films of the 90s.
Oh yeah, Good Will Hunting was great.
I love that movie. But
that's why, as far as Ben Affleck, I was excited about the Batman movie coming out because he was going to direct it.
Right.
And then it just fell into pieces. I feel like it would have been amazing.
Here's why I think a Ben Affleck Star Wars trilogy would have worked. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but he was considered to be a director for episode 7, 8, and 9. He was strongly considered. Yeah, and then they went with that geek J.J. Abrams. By the way, I'm sorry, J.J. Abrams is terrible. Name one good thing that he's done on his own, and I'll shut up.
The things that he puts out makes money. Even though they're not great, they make money.
The things that he puts his name on make money. He gets a lot of credit for Lost, and he wasn't really part of that show. He had a producer credit, and he wasn't involved at all. So a lot of credit for that show.
But then he did the Transformer films.
Don't get me started.
No. Like I said, they're not always great, but they make money. He makes sure he picks the right things. Because I think he did the Turtles too, didn't he?
Yeah.
The newer ones. They make money no matter, and that's because if I feel like those things you could put out crap movies of those and people are going to go watch it because they're fans of Ninja Turtles, they're fans of Transformers. Huh?
Michael though.
Oh, that's Michael Bay. Okay.
JJ. And I'm not a Star Trek fan, but I hate Star Trek, to be honest. Growing up, there was a rivalry between Star Wars fans and Star Trek fans, and
it's still there.
I fully participated. I'm not a Spock sucker, never will be.
I wasn't big into the TV shows, but I did like some of the movies. Like Wrath of Khan is a classic to me.
Oh, I see. Wrath of Khan is just a great movie.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
takes Star Trek, Star Wars out of it? Wrath of Khan was beautifully written and beautifully filmed. Yep. But I love it. Yeah, Melissa, that's right. But no, he did that. The Star Trek. But talk to Star Trek fans. He messed that one up too. Took a lot away from what they grew up on, and you can't do that. Yeah. And I said this on last week's episode and the week before.
It's really hard to satisfy fanboys. That's the thing. It's really hard.
Yeah, but the problem is JJ was trying to satisfy himself. You don't get to come in and say, well, I've always felt like lightsabers were heavy, so I'm going to make them heavy. No, that's not the way it works. You guys, you are dealing with somebody else's universe. Right. You don't to say that, oh, I don't like the idea of midichlorians, so I'm going to keep them out of the story. I love the idea of midichlorians. I don't like that people complain about it because it explains why certain people are Jedi and why the rest of the world isn't. You know what I mean?
Right. But that's like the first Spider-Man film. He had the webs coming out of his wrists.
Right.
And I hated that. I hated that because that's not what happens.
Doesn't he make something like a connection? Yeah.
Right. Because the whole point is that scientists can't figure out how a spider makes its web strong enough to handle certain things. They can't figure it out. Just like they can't figure out how a bee can fly because of its dynamics. They can't figure it out. And the thing that I liked about Spider-Man is that he figured it out.
Right.
Because he's Spider-Man. So he figured it out how to make it.
I mean, the character Peter Parker was smart. He was an intelligent kid.
Yeah, he was a scientist. He was a brainiac.
But that's a great reference then, because you got to, like, there are millions of fans all over the world that we know the movies a certain way. We know the lore a certain way. If George Lucas tells you no, lightsabers aren't heavy, and if you watch the prequels, these Jedi are acrobats with them. And by the way, there still isn't better lightsaber live action than there is in the prequels. I don't care if you like the prequels or not. You said it a couple weeks ago.
Darth Maul, man, I love that one.
And
it wasn't long enough. I wish it was longer.
Yeah, it was. So actually, a little bit off topic, but there's a couple of people that have worked on episode 1, including the actors, say that there's a 4-hour cut episode 1, and a guy that hated episode 1 says he saw the 4-hour cut and loved it.
Ooh.
So I would love to see, and that fight was apparently a lot longer, a lot more bloody.
Ooh.
But okay. This is what we got, though. We got J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy's rendition of Star Wars. Now, if you guys don't know who Kathleen Kennedy is, and I'm sure you guys all do, but just a quick explanation. She worked on E.T. She was with Spielberg back in the day. Never directed in her life. Producer. Her husband's rich. She's rich, and they're involved in movies. I don't know how they got involved with the right people, but they've never thing in their life because it's all Steven Spielberg behind it. But Kathleen Kennedy is the broad that you see that kind of gives you that Hillary Clinton vibe when you see her, mad at the world, and is wearing that say the Force is female. I never thought the Force was a gender, because it's not.
Me neither.
You want to talk about this is the women episode dedicated to Carrie Fisher. Let's talk about that. You are not a strong woman if you have to go around saying this is female and women are that. No, don't throw it in people's faces. Strong women do strong stuff. They don't talk about it.
Right.
Just like strong men do strong stuff and don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So Kathleen Kennedy, yes, we hold you personally responsible for everything bad you've done with Star Wars and the female character. Poor Daisy Ridley, who is a fine actor, got screwed. John Boyega had a chance to see our first black main character in Star Wars. We had Lando, we had Mace Windu, but this guy was one of the main 3, and you guys threw him in the garbage. Didn't do nothing with this character.
Mm-hmm. They should have made him a Jedi, because he has the Force, obviously.
Yeah,
they should have just made him a Jedi.
Well, when we saw the trailer, that's what we thought they were going with in episode 7. Yes, it was. No, you know what though, Melissa? It was a bad decision. But it was George Lucas. George Lucas trusted this woman and got screwed. She said she told him, he groomed her to run the company. She told him, I'm going to preserve your legacy and make sure nobody messes with your story. George Lucas trusted her and the CEO of Disney at the time to take his movies. There's a book Bob Iger wrote that he talks about George Lucas' action. He felt betrayed by people who were longtime friends. And guess what? It backfired on them because they thought that, Star Wars fans hate the prequels. No. The internet fans hate the prequels.
Right.
And nerds that complain about everything, they're just louder than anybody else.
Mhm.
Look at the numbers that the prequels did. It did amazing. Look at the Clone Wars.
They're going to do good regardless. Let's be on the same page here. They're going to do good regardless.
Yes and no. Why didn't The Last Jedi do good? Why didn't they did okay?
It still made more than their budget.
Yeah, but they didn't. They're nowhere in comparison to the prequels.
No.
People say they hated the prequels, but people kept watching them.
Mm-hmm.
And they have rewatchability.
What they need to do is kick Kathleen out of there and put good old Johnny Favs up in there.
No. Dave Filoni. Let Johnny Favs be Dave Filoni's right hand man. Because yes,
okay, I'll take that.
Dave Filoni.
Johnny Favs gave us the Star Wars we've been waiting for.
Yeah, absolutely. But Dave Filoni was behind the story. Filoni is basically George Lucas's real apprentice. He'd been working with George Lucas for upward of 12 years or something before this all happened. And he was originally in animation, and now he's moving up to the director's chair, producer's chair. That guy should be running Star Wars. Him and Jon Favreau together is magic. And what I was going to say before I got into that rant, and I said to do that, you need somebody that respects and loves all of George Lucas's work with Star Wars, so that all the fans can be pleased. That's what you need. That's why The Mandalorian season 2 got such great reviews. That last episode has like a 90 Rotten Tomatoes.
The last episode was magical.
The fan rating. I don't care about the critic rating, but
right.
It's just I'm hoping we get because this is dedicated to Carrie Fisher. I'm hoping that we get a moment where we actually get to see Han, Leia, and Luke together on screen via computer or whatever, because we didn't get that.
Or maybe they could use the same actor from Solo.
Yeah,
they could theoretically use him. Even though he probably wouldn't. Well, maybe he would. I don't know.
I think you could use and then do like the face mesh thing. That movie wasn't bad. It's actually my favorite movie. Disney.
It wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. I've seen it more than once. When I watch something more than once, that means that it was good to me. Yeah.
Since we're on females, how about Emilia Clarke's character in that? I thought she was a really well done character.
Very complex. I liked her too. See, and she was badass too.
Yeah, 100%. She was a criminal.
And also, what's her face was in there too? Tandy Newton.
Yeah, she was Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, I wish she would have lasted longer.
Yeah, she's a really good actress.
But she went out saving everybody. That's how much of a badass she was.
She did. That was a cool moment in the whole thing. But we're gonna get into
Mandalorian has a lot of strong female characters.
Oh yeah, left and right. The chick that's running with Boba Fett.
Bo-Katan is in there.
Yeah, Bo-Katan. You got
the one that's with Carl Weathers now.
Oh yeah, Gina Carano.
Yeah, the one from that one.
She's a MMA fighter, right?
She's just a martial artist. She was in the Haywire. You ever seen the Haywire?
No.
Or Haywire. I don't think it's the Haywire. It's all right. It's got cool fight scenes, but it's not a great movie.
Yeah. I like what they're doing with that. It's not like we were talking about earlier. It's not forced on you. It's not
right
down your throat. She whoops ass when it needs to be.
That's it.
I want to give a shout out to a couple more before we close out the show. And the reason I want to shout these women out is because, like I said earlier, feminism tends to shun the homemaker woman, the one with the society. And that's nature, folks. That's the way God created us. Men are idiots who they think irrationally or think everything rationally, and it's usually not rational. They're strong-headed. Women are the counterbalance to that and make us not so stupid. And hate how women that decide to be homemakers are shunned. And I want to give a shout out to Aunt Beru, who took in a kid that was it was her nephew, but not really, because Shmi was her husband's stepmother. And she obviously didn't give up Luke's location because she got murked for it. She got disintegrated. And then I want to shout out this woman right here, Shmi Skywalker. Talk about a strong woman, a slave. Terrible thing to be, a slave. And did one of the bravest things in the Star Wars saga by giving her son up, letting him so that he had a better life and didn't have to live his rest of his life as a slave, knowing she would probably never see him again. And then unfortunately, when we see her again, it's not in a good situation.
It's not a good situation.
But they represent portraits of women, and I think Pernilla August, who played Shmi Skywalker, represented perfect mother figure. Now, I'm gonna tell you, if I had a mother that nice, and looked at the bright side of things, as even I'm a slave, and she made me smile still, it would mess me up terribly to know that she got murdered after she was freed, and I would probably turn to the dark side too. Shout out to Zog if he's watching, man. He brought up something the other day. Him and I used to watch Attack of the Clones, and there's a badass scene. Whether you like Hayden Christensen or not, I want you to watch this at one point, Tony, and tell me what you think about it. When he goes to rescue Shmi Skywalker from the Sand People, and then
I don't even remember the prequels, man.
Okay, well, I'm gonna run.
I'm gonna have to watch them because you love them.
Yes.
So and I have a bad taste in my mouth for them. So, and that's why I never went back to watch them. So I'm gonna my commitment to you is that I'm gonna watch them.
Oh man, you're the best. You're the best. I'm gonna let you know though. So there's a scene, backstory is she gets kidnapped by the Sand People. She's freed. She's married to Klieg Lars, who's Uncle Owen's dad, and she's working as a moisture farmer. Now they have their little family farm, and she's out picking mushroom raiders and gets kidnapped by the Tusken Raiders, the Sand People. And when Anakin shows up, he's across the galaxy having nightmares about his mother being in pain, and he goes to Tatooine to see what's up. He gets there, and come to find out that she'd been kidnapped, and her husband and the rest of his family are too big of pussies to go out and look for her again because he lost his legs, and for some reason wants to roll around on a hover wheelchair, but won't get robot legs even though they're available. I don't know what his problem is. But, he uses that excuse of, after I lost my legs, I couldn't go look for it anymore. And Anakin kind of gives him a look like, you pussy. So, and he finds mother at Tusken Raider camp, and she's seconds from death. So his last moments are, with his mother, he's holding her, and she's just, her life is complete. She says it to him, and that, now I'm complete, because he shows up. And, all you people that hate Hayden Christensen and say he can't act, that scene, he really
Who says that?
I don't know, some guy. Who says that? Quite a few people say that. I get it. Clunky dialogue can make that happen, but that scene, the motion in his face, he nails it. When he's talking to his mom and he's trying to tell her everything's going to be okay, and he can't even finish the sentence because he's trying to hold back tears. Act superb. Then he pissed off and slaughters the entire camp. Now, I brought up Zog earlier. Yes, Melissa. Yes, absolutely. That, and it would be a tie between that and the fight between him and Obi-Wan, the end of it. He goes back. He wraps up his mom's body. He goes back to the homestead, and he takes her off the swoop bike, her body. And when he's walking into the house, he looks Owen, and he's passing by, and he's looking him dead in the eye. Like, look, I got her. She's dead now. You guys, I had to come out here and do this. Like, you guys could have done this weeks ago. That was a badass moment. And that showed Anakin starting to turn a little bit.
Mhm.
It shows you where his disdain for weakness came from.
Yeah.
And man, it was real. I didn't cry all or nothing. But it is what it is, man. It's man, the women of Star Wars. But we'll close it with this, man. Rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. She brought that female. I don't care what anybody says. That's the first badass female character through and through. Was never a weak moment with her. Even the love scenes between her and Han, like it went together. They vibed well because they both had that.
They have really good chemistry.
Yeah, absolutely. What is your favorite Carrie Fisher out of the Star Wars movies? What is your favorite watch her in?
That's tough. She's badass in all of them.
Yes.
The only thing is, in these newer ones, she was more behind the scenes, but in the originals, she was out there fighting with everybody.
Yeah.
She had 3 different looks. In that first one, she had the iconic headphone buns, hairdo. Yep. That, people that do like cosplaying and things like that, it's usually that look or the slave look that they go for, depending on what party they're going to. But and Spaceballs had a good, remember they were actually headphones.
We're gonna do a special episode one day where we talk about Spaceballs.
So damn. And then in the Empire Strikes Back, she had all the cold stuff on, and she was pretty cool, man. You know what? I'm gonna go with Slave Leia, man. Leia. Yeah, so she was dope. Yeah. She took out Jabba the Hutt, man. She figured she chained him up and just pulled that chain as hard as she could.
She was rocking
now, let me ask you a question. Was she actually at the time, was she actually captured or she went like undercover?
So if you remember, she went.
I got the undercover vibe.
She went to Jabba's palace disguised as a bounty hunter and she brought Chewbacca, and she captured him as a bounty. So it was to get her in with Jabba, and then in the middle of the night, while she thinks everybody's sleeping, she shows up and takes Han out of the carbonite. Little does she know that Jabba's waiting for that to happen, and he puts her. You know what I mean? So it was a little bit of both. But yes, absolutely, she put Lando in his place. In Empire Strikes Back, it's so hard. Like Tony said, man, it's hard to really say what her best performance is, but what you like to see her most in. I mean, all of us guys, we're gonna say Slave Leia, because she's a knockout. But yes, Empire was a great. I love the banter between her and Harrison Ford in Empire. It's just amazing, and she kicks ass in that one. But she also kicks ass. You gotta understand, in 6. Return of the Jedi, she's whooping ass that whole show.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And then she just holds it together so well. I know a lot of people don't like Ewoks, but if you don't, I'm pretty sure that you're evil. So I liked her with the Ewoks. I like everything. She was just dope through and through. It's a damn shame that we didn't get to see it. Is another thing he robbed us of was getting to see her as a full-on Jedi, which in the expanded universe, that's what she became. It is possible that she could have been rocking the lightsaber while being a general and in politics. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
She would have surpassed Luke, I feel.
Oh yeah, of course, because that's what this episode is called. There is another. She was the other. Yoda said it. Obi-Wan was like, "Oh, that boy's our last hope," and he goes, "Nope, there's another," and she was the one. And before she passed away, unfortunately, she was supposed to have her episode 9 was supposed to be her movie, and she passed away, unfortunately. So it's yeah, that sucks. But I really don't want to see how Disney was going to ruin her character with that.
Yeah, let it live.
the episode 8, which they put in Laura Dern. Who
I thought her character was good.
There was potential there, but my problem was this: they used her to just basically put the Latina guy, and that guy was a badass. Poe Dameron, played by Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. That was another one of those feminism in your face moments. I didn't like that, but there was potential for her to because I like Laura Dern. Jurassic Park, come on. The fact that she's coming back to Jurassic Park with Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum, I can't wait to see that. Jurassic World, sorry, but I wasn't really interested in those other 2 movies. They're good as movies, but it's just whatever. I'm an OG Jurassic Park fan.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, but Leia by far. I hope we get to see more of her. They got the technology now. Do it, you know.
Yeah, clearly they got Luke at the end of this one.
Well, here's why. And by the way, folks, we were talking about it earlier. Here's why we know for a fact that the original Rey character was supposed to be a Skywalker or Solo. The first actress they went to was Billie Lourd, aka Carrie Fisher's daughter. Yes.
Interesting.
She makes so many dope appearances too. Carrie Fisher was in Austin Powers as the family therapist.
I mean, for the most part, besides the Star Wars franchise, she really was doing drop-ins, man. She was just dropping in different TV shows and movies and things like that. She
was writing too.
Was she? Okay.
She was script doctoring a lot. She was writing books. She wrote Postcard Edge, which is there's a movie about it starring Meryl Streep, which is loosely based on her. It's like the 8 Mile of Carrie Fisher's life. She's a tremendous writer. I've listened and read all of her books. Wishful Drinking, The Princess Diarist, which is the most recent one where she talked about the affair between her and Harrison Ford. She's just hilarious, just through and through. Carrie Fisher was just she was gone. she left way too soon, you know. But there was she had a pretty good cocktail address in the autopsy, so she went out peacefully and at least having some fun, you know. She definitely had her pain. Like, you know, nerd fans were all pissed off that Padme died of a broken heart in episode 3. And I don't think he even realized that that's actually a possibility. You can die of a heart. And
happens to old people all the time.
The very next day, Debbie Reynolds passed away.
Yep.
So shout out to Debbie Reynolds as well, the queen. Yeah. But that's our shout out to the women in Star Wars, folks. Before Disney, it was epic. Now Disney, we're not going to go there, but Mara Jade, Princess Leia, Ahsoka Tano, Barriss Offee, Duchess Satine, Shmi Skywalker, everybody we shouted out and more. There's so much more. If you guys haven't got into the expanded universe, get into it. And Melissa, we're gonna have you on again.
I learned a lot.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be putting you on game a little bit more, man. So you're gonna get into it. I'll dude, if I have to, I'll give you the word of my Audible account. So when you're just driving, you can listen to books or whatever. But yeah, man, thank you guys so much for joining in. I can't tell who there's more today than there was last week. I don't know who all is watching, but thank you everybody that joined in the comment section as well. Melissa, we're going to have you on for a little bit longer next time. We just got to get you a better sound setup. Our other guest, I don't know what happened. I checked the link. Looked good to me. I checked it on my phone and I got right in. So yeah, sorry about that. Whatever happened. But thank you guys all for joining. That's our shout out to the women of Star Wars. This is Galactic Basics, and we are the Midichlorian Mafia. We will be back next week with more, maybe even this week. I don't know. We're kind of doing this on a whim. I'm loving the fact that you've joined me on this, man. Thank you so much.
No problem. No problem.
Any closing remarks?
No. I'm excited to finish Clone Wars and start back up on Rebels and see where this goes. And I'll watch what is it, episode 4 at some point this week.
Episode A New Hope?
No, sorry, not 4. Episode 1. I'll watch episode 1 at some point this week.
Yeah, start out there and we'll see what. But after you finish Clone Wars, we're gonna do a review of the whole series on here. So I want your reaction.
Well, maybe we should go one by one. We
could do that too.
Start off with number 4.
Whatever you guys want to do, you guys tell us. We'll listen to you. So yeah, that's us, Midichlorian Mafia, Galactic Basics. Thank you so much. We are out.